Condemnations continue rising to the sky from across the board. Condemnation, condemning civil society leaders, condemning the burning down of a church in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon and the kidnapping of priest and a reverend sister. And we talked to some civil society leaders here in Douala, and this is what they told us in this report compiled by Equinoxe.
To civil society actors, the abduction of 5 priests, a reverend sister and 2 lay Christians by armed men suspected to be separatist fighters after the arson attack on the St. Mary Catholic Church in Chang village in the Manu division of the southwest region is a satanic, abominable and an unacceptable deed.
It's a terrible thing. It's really very satanic. It's abominable to attack a church during period of crisis, especially during war. People run and go and hide in the church, the house of God. The house of God is sacrosanct. That means these boys have no fear for God. They have no fear for humanity. It's high time we start talking to their leaders.
You cannot say that you are fighting for a people and you are adopting them and you are requesting for ransom. I will not support. If we report issues of the military excesses, then we should report issues of the excesses and war crimes being perpetrated on both sides.
The abduction, according to Nji Lucas, is a gross human rights violation, which is unhelpful.
According to the Rome Statute on the rights to education, economic and social rights, this is a total violation. The church mediates in resolving crises. So when you attack the church, you cannot have that support that you're thinking.
Nji Lucas goes further to school the abductors on a lesson they missed out before their actions.
There are places that you will not attack during war times. You have schools, you have hospitals, you have churches and mosques. During war times, any attack on these places is considered war crime. During wartime, you have the women and the children and the elderly. During wartime, any attack on this caliber of persons, it's a war crime.
Dr. Businiba states that the abductions, killings and abuses ongoing in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon have prolonged and time to put a stop mark to them.
It is high time we stop this. It is high time government also look for measures to solve this problem. And I think that the international world has to intervene in this and pick their leaders abroad and question them.
These civil society actors think it is time for the war belligerents to change from their evil ways and for the government authorities to be sincere and organize a truly inclusive dialogue to end these atrocities in Anglophone Cameroon.
The mayor of Manfi, Manu Division, Southwest Region of the Republic of Cameroon, is calling on those who took away the priest and the other servants of God in the Catholic Church in Chang to release them right now. And he says that they should be released immediately because it is an abomination. It is unacceptable, according to the mayor of Manfi and other civil society leaders that you've heard speaking to Innocent in that report. Now take a listen to the mayor of Manfi Municipality, Robert Tabenchon.
Strongly condemned whoever that burns this church and adopt some priests and some reverend sisters. I have never seen where, if there's crisis, whoever is disgruntled will attack the churches or attack hospitals. It is uncalled for. I'm using this medium, I'm using this platform now to plead with my brothers and sisters that they should allow the men of God to go. They are not part of the problem. Please, I'm begging them. They know that I am usually begging them to lay down their arms. They should hear what the president has said. Please, they should allow men of God free. They don't have anything. You people are requesting for 50 million. Looking at these men of God now, are you sure they can produce 50 million? What do you people want to do with 50 million? What links does the Reverend Fathers, the sisters, have to do with this crisis? I am begging. I continue to beg my brothers. I continue to beg my sisters. Please, please, I am begging you. I understand that there was a problem, and that was why the president called for national dialogue. Let us wait and see what this pregnant woman will give birth to. Please. I also use this same medium to call upon the government that it is not easy with us local elected officials. It is really weighing on us. Today you go out there preaching peace. Today you tell them that, you tell your people that there is peace. You people come out. Tomorrow they will go and burn. You take us back to the same situation. They should hasten up with the decentralization, please. Whatever they have to do, they should fasten up. They should hasten up with the decentralization. The 15% that has been set aside for the councils should be given, so as much as it can enable local officials, local elected officials, to go down to the root and solve this problem. Please, sir. I'm begging my brothers, I'm begging my sisters, release the fathers, release the priests, release the reverend sisters. They don't have anything to do.
The mayor of Mamfe, Manuel Division, Southwest Region of Cameroon, Robertson Tabenchong, speaking there to our Kumba-based correspondent Zaibwe, and in reaction to the bitter reactions of the Bishop of Mamfe concerning the incident at the Catholic Church in Chang, that is the Catholic Church in Chang. One of the civil society leaders who spoke to Equinoxe said that the bishop should converge the Christians, should gather the Christians together, encourage them, and push them to pray against such things. Take a listen to Dr. Busi Neva.
The bishop came out, and he's a newly ordained bishop. He was really bitter on it. I look at it from the perspective of the Christians. I want to say that the bishop was hard on this Christian in times like this, as the bishop and as the Lord of the church, as a chief shepherd. He's supposed to gather the people. He's supposed to comfort the parishioners. But I want to say that he was really hard on the people, that he knows that they are their children. But it's true to an extent, they are children. But I think that as God's people, he should comfort them, and let also the parishioners and the Christian, if they have an idea of those who came, they should report that to the state. It's very important. And I think that the bishop should be soft to the Christian. I saw one mother really crying and wanted to talk to the bishop, and the bishop was saying that it's their children, and the bishop was really hard. And I think that the bishop has to calm down his temperament, his psychology of war, and he has to understand human interaction, human behavior, human thinking in terms of war. He has to calm down and rethink and comfort his parishioner. It's not time to close the church. It's not. You cannot blame the parishioner. It's not their fault. But I think that the church also have to involve in solving this crisis. We saw the case of South Africa, where late Desmond Tutu had to solve the crisis in South Africa.
Away from the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, insecurity is also imposing itself on inhabitants of the rest of the country, the francophone parts of the country, especially in the major cities and in the town of Bafoussam, capital of the west region of the country. We now bring to you updates on the kidnapping of a Form 3 student of Government Balinko High School, Bafoussam, and the police has carried out some investigations, and we have more details in this report compiled by Smart Jikan Gabriel.
After several days of investigation by the elements of the judicial police in Bafoussam, the man suspected to have kidnapped a Form 3 student of Government High School Bafoussam have been shown to the public. The suspect says his love for money and the desire to continue schooling abroad pushed him to commit the act. The goal is to get money because I truly wanted to continue with my education abroad. I needed to look for a way. I didn't have any intention of harming the young man. He blamed his former employer to be at the origin of this act, even though it wasn't the first time. It's not the first time I'm doing this. I blame my boss in Yaoundé who didn't pay my salaries for 2 months. The truth is, when you sit without doing anything, thought of how to make money comes to your mind. I'm sorry for what I did, because it is not the first time I kidnapped the child of a commander. During the reconstitution of how the abduction of the little Form 3 student took place in the West region, the suspected kidnapper showed the security forces how he got into the Form 3 class pretending to be their teacher before he successfully took away the child, claiming they were going to buy the course materials, only for them to end up at a residence in Dengdeng. The effort spent at finding the location where the suspect had kept his victim was at first difficult, but wasn't an impossible one for the security forces. We immediately activated our research networks that, notwithstanding the knowledge of the kidnapper who didn't make calls at the exact location, we managed to locate the place, which was Ndengdeng in Jedem, subdivision of Nkunki Division. It was last September 7th, 2022 that an alert was raised at GBHS Bafoussam about the adoption of a Form 3 student and the demand of 3 million francs as ransom. After the reconstitution of the act, the alleged kidnapper has been taken to court for justice to take its course.
And insecurity is also a major problem along Cameroon's borders with some of our neighbors, including the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea, and how to step up security along the borders between Cameroon and neighboring Equatorial Guinea, and also to enhance territorial stability, were on the table of discussion during an audience granted Cameroon's Minister Delegate at the Presidency in charge of Defense, Joseph Betia Somon, by Equatorial Guinean President Teodoro Obiangema Bazogo. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
Guineans will head to the polls in a general election this November 2022, and ensuring trans-border security with its giant neighbor Cameroon was key on the list of things discussed by the country's president Teodoro Obiangema Bazogo and Cameroon's Defense Minister Joseph Betia Somo, special envoy of President Paul Biya Tumlabu. Bearer of a message from President Biya, the 20-minute audience also featured strategies to reinforce border security since the signing of an accord in 2020, the suspension of works on the projects to erect a wall between Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, the half of Cameroonians living in the Equatorial Guinea, and their compliance with the country's legislation, as well as the verdict passed by Cameroon on individuals arrested by Cameroon in an attempt to engage a coup d'etat in Equatorial Guinea. Speaking to the men and women of the press at the end of the tete-a-tete, Defense boss Joseph Betia Somo said the words from President Paul Biya to his friend and brother Obiangema Bazogo was sealed. He also said President Paul Biya charged him to transfer his strategic analysis on some strategic issues to President Obiangema Bazogo. The visit that falls directly within the traditional consultative meetings of both countries also provided an opportunity for the Defense Minister of Cameroon to have a 40-minute tete-a-tete with the Vice President of the Republic of Equatorial Guinea, Teodorin Obiangema Mange. Both men in their chat expatiated on mutualizing efforts for a better, stronger and a healthier Cameroon-Equatorial Guinea long border.
And another issue threatening the peace, stability of the Republic of Cameroon, especially the main cities, particularly the nation's political capital Yaoundé and the economic capital Douala, is the problem of land disputes. In the nation's capital Yaoundé, a young woman, a single mother of 7, is now sending distress calls to the Yaoundé administration after she was hindered from doing business at the place where she has been doing business for several years, which she claims to have bought since 1999, and the problem is emanating from a land dispute between her and another woman. We bringing to you some details in this report compiled by for me, Armstrong Sander.
Behind this wall under construction are 2 stores. The proprietor is unable to enter the stores since last Thursday. She says the construction started in her absence. Upon her arrival, she and her brother were arrested and detained at the 14th Police District for close to 12 hours. At the origin of the matter is a land dispute pitting Bridget and an individual claiming ownership of the land on which the stores are constructed. The lady who ordered the construction of the wall says she inherited it from her father. But Bridget says she bought part of the land in the 1998 and the other part in 2022 from 2 different persons.
Quand nous sommes partis, elle a porté ses plaintes que c'est elle l'héritier de cet terrain, c'est le terrain de son père.
We tried to get the other party's version of the story to no avail. Meantime, the single mother of 7 who has 2 physically challenged parents to take care of is stranded.
Prices of basic commodities have continued increasing on the market in the Republic of Cameroon, and it is becoming much more difficult for households to put 3 square meals on the table every day. Lucille Liengo compiles the reactions of some Cameroonians in this report.
This is Ngalim, Kinehang Mambutu's division of the West region. Traders of Kinehang market complain of an increase in the price of corn. They say a bucket of corn that used to sell for 2,000 francs now sells at 2,500 francs. In Buda, we sell a kilo of corn for 130 francs, a bucket for 2,200 francs. But today, we are being forced to buy it for 2,500 francs. This is not usual. We cannot cope. We prefer to go back. Farmers complain that the prices of agricultural inputs have skyrocketed. It is now very difficult for peasants because the price of agricultural inputs has increased to the extent that even us farmers who cultivate corn cannot cope. Normally, the prices of agricultural input was at 5,000 francs, 6,000 francs, but now it is sold for 45,000 francs. Farmers also say that the modification of the prices is as a result of the upsurge in the prices of basic commodities. Farmers face a lot of problems. Everything has increased in the market. Rice, salt, in fact everything. How can rice increase and corn does not? We find ourselves selling a bucket of corn for a price lesser than 2.5. So this is the reason we decided not to sell today. The business persons affirm that the price increase initiated since on Saturday has spread to other markets like Galim, Bati and Bamenjin. They intend to meet the authorities of the city of Ngalim in the coming days to present the situation.
The National Institute of Statistics says that Cameroon is slowly recovering from the devastating economic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. In its latest report, the institution reveals that the gross domestic product of Cameroon has moved from 0.3% in 2020 to 3.6% in 2021. Immaculate Fowe.
The Ministry of Public Health, after sending out a circular in the month of August against the commercialization of skin whitening products, went ahead to seize and destroy cosmetic products with hydroquinone. This action was less appreciated by the employer's cartel. GCAM went ahead to write to the Ministry of Public Health and copy the Prime Minister's office, asking for the move to be reconsidered because of its adverse effects on enterprises. In response, a communique from the Prime Minister's office signed on September 14, 2022 suspends every action by the Ministry of Public Health on the control of cosmetic products being imported into or exported for commercialization. It reads, under the strict instructions of the Prime Minister, there is a necessity to harmonize the conformity control of imported food and cosmetic products. The Prime Minister's circular calls on the Ministry of Public Health to consent as soon as possible with that of mines, industries and technological development and other concerned ministries to agree on the application of Law number 020 of 11 December 2018 relating to food security. In its latest response, the Minister of Public Health, respecting the Prime Minister's order, has instructed all heads of health posts at Cameroon's borders plus regional delegations for public health to as well suspend the application of the August circular, which was aimed at restricting the importation of certain cosmetic products into Cameroon.
Anabila reporting there on decisions of the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph John Guti, and the Minister of Public Health, Manauta Malachi, intended to regulate the commercialization of cosmetic products in the Republic of Cameroon. Now back to Immaculate Fogue with details on the latest report of the National Institute of Statistics on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the country's economy. And the institution is saying that Cameroon is gradually recovering from the devastating consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the gross domestic product moving or stepping up from 0.3% in 2020 to 0.3% in 2020 to 3.6% in 2021. Immaculate Fogue.
Cameroon has achieved a mild economic recovery within the year 2021. According to the National Institute of Statistics, the gross domestic product has increased from 0.3% to 3.6% in the year 2021. The tertiary, secondary and primary sectors have all noticed an increase in percentage within this period. Due to relaxation of some barrier measures such as the temporal border closure, the transport and tourism sector have been able to get back on their feet. The report, however, notes that hydrocarbon extraction industries are yet to experience a significant increase. Its 2022 gross domestic product stood at 0.2%, and in 2021 it moved to 0.5%. Agriculture remains the major backbone of the country's gross domestic product. According to the report, for Cameroon to fully achieve regional trade potential, they need to develop a regional trade policy to foster industrialization and harness regional and continental opportunities. The report underscores the importance of sustained growth in trade as a key driver for Cameroon to achieve its goal of becoming emergent by 2035.
That's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Our guest today is a clergyman, Reverend B. Christian. Thank you for joining us today. What's your take on the latest incident recorded in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon crisis, notably in the locality of Chang, in Manfe, Manyo Division, southwest region of the country? A Roman Catholic church building set ablaze.
Have had a socio-economic crisis in Cameroon. I believe that the both sides should stay away from spiritual infrastructures and spiritual institutes, because I believe that these spiritual institutes, they are there to bring peace. They are there to harmonize the two parties, to make them to come back to reasoning and to have a common goal or a common way to solve their problems. And if they have gone to this level to burn a church, it is a heartbroken, because that's where people go with problems, with trauma, with stress, with depression, to have hope. And we, as we said, God is our hope, and the Lord Jesus Christ is our hope. And if they are going to burn a place of worship, it is really a disheartening thing. It's really a heartbreaking thing. And I believe that whosoever have done that, I don't know who have done that, but whosoever have done that, I mean, it is really a curse to such a person or such a group of persons that have done that, because the house of worship is the house of God. And we believe that even in the war front, even in war structures and laws, houses of worship, schools, hospitals are no-go zones, that nobody, whoever it may be, whether you are government forces or you are separatists, you don't have no right to pass in those areas. So it is a very sympathetic situation that we find ourselves, that a house of God was put down to ashes.
And after burning down the house of God, the servants of God were taken away, priests and other servants who were working in that Catholic church, in that parish of the Roman Catholic Church in Jam. What's your analysis of this?
I cannot analyze, the morals of the priest, their health. You just imagine that you are moving from out of an environment that you have used to a strange place that you don't know. It may be water. You cannot drink good water. You cannot have good food for yourself. Shelter. It may be they have trekked for a distance that they have not trekked before. You understand? Pain in the bush, mosquitoes, and other things that these young people, these men of God are going through. I mean, I want to just say that it is if we analyze it, we discover that these people are going through a traumatic situation now, that I don't know how God really need to help them to come back into their normal psychological balance, to come back and really do their function well, because it's something that you have not experienced in life, and experience something out of your will, out of duress, out of horrible way that you do not expect. It traumatized them, even in their calling. Sometimes there's some things that you go through and start to ask yourself, truly did God call me? But in the call of God, there's also challenges, and those challenges sometimes they become some horrible in such a way that we just look unto God, and we believe that truly now they are looking unto God, because we are just try to analyze what they are going through now and where they are. Maybe they are being brutal, tortured. They are being threatened. They are being now given some food that they cannot. Maybe they are not able to eat. It's sleeping. I don't know the type of place they are sleeping. What is mosquito is biting them, and I don't know what sort of they are sick. Because sometimes when you go through trauma, the chemistry of your body have imbalance, and sometimes illness can just come in front of, can just fall upon you instantly. I don't know some of they are fallen that type of situation. We just pray God that God will just help them in that situation.
Looking at the situation today in which protected areas in crisis and conflict, or better still war situations like churches and schools, are now targeted, what is your opinion about the evolution of the conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country? Are we really moving towards a restoration of peace and normalcy, as we've often heard from our authorities?
Have what we call propaganda machines, and they have machineries. And so those propagandas and machineries, they want to do something that will hurt the other parties, and that's why you see sometimes they go beyond the normal situation that they find themselves, or the normal what they are pursuing. And when you realize that schools, hospitals that are no-go zones, and churches that are no-go zones are being touched, you realize that some people now, they have come out from the really question or what they were looking at, the very vision of what they were looking for. I don't know, those who are looking for separation, whether it's separation or independence, or they want us to go back to a normal 1962 peace accord, and believe that we should have a way of doing things. We should stand and do things like mature people, keeping away our grievances, our targets from those areas, from schools, hospitals, and churches, because those are places that even in the war, even in the normal international policy, those are war crime when any party goes to church and in such a place. But you find that the both parties have shunned away from, or have shied away from this war, this international law, and they are violating it. Because I don't think that when a child goes to school, it is the future of that child that is at stake. When you come and destroy or you come to dramatize the child in a school environment, that child cannot more learn with his normal senses. The child becomes psychologically, impaired, to reason the way the child was supposed to reason. And those who are also going to hospitals, and somebody's on drip, and you come and like what happened in Shishon, where I heard that one time the men of the uniform, the ministry went there and they were threatening the establishment. That's one of the things that the government need to address. The government need to address. They have to be in a military to order. Don't go and threaten people who are healing. And when there's war conflict, we believe that we have a course, we are doing a conflict management. When it concerns hospitals, churches, and schools, it's for everybody. Whether you are separatists or your government, it's just to rehabilitate you, their mind, understand, so that you can psychologically be fit back to the society. So when you are that two places are targeted, it become a devastating situation that people have become frustrated.
What do you think about what is today qualified as a hard reaction of the Bishop of Manfi, pointing to alleged complicity by the Christians of that parish who are said not to be helping the situation?
There are sometimes when somebody is angry, when somebody is frustrated, with a situation like that, the bishop can be forced to say whatever he wants to say because of the frustration that is in front of him. But I still believe that as a servant of God, he have to reframe himself. He have to, calm down, manage his anger, and let us try to see how we can find out the situation that is in front of us. Because at the particular point of time, they need to first of all to investigate what have already gone, what happened, who have done that. Because if you point finger in another direction that you don't know that maybe it's come from this other direction, you may be referring to the wrong person, thereby also causing another more trouble than solving the problem. So we pray that they can calm down. That church will still be rebuilt. I believe that Catholic institution are institution that I know that they have institutions from different angles that can support the rebuild of that institution, of that very church in that area. So he should not hesitate, to meet his fellow priests and let them sit down and talk and see how they can bring life back to that same area. Rather than, I know there's anger, but we should control our anger when it comes to such a situation, because, pointing a finger to a person that you are not investigating to discover that person may pose another serious crisis again in that environment. The villagers are also helpless. The villagers are helpless. I don't think that the village can stand against the military or against the separatists. The villagers cannot stand. They are just helpless in the situation that we find ourselves. So we cannot just push the stuff to the population, because the population there, first of all, they don't have guns, they don't have any much. And if they have, so of those people that make like that, it's also their children that have decided to take their own camp, which even international law still recognize as human beings, as human beings that have his own right. So there was, even in war, the person, even if he's a separatist, is an armed robber, is a terrorist, he still has his own right, and that right to also be respected. So no matter who it may be, we should be calm, and I pray that God will inspire the bishop more to really come back and then really embrace the population and let the bishop and the population see how they can rebuild the institution back.
Now, before the priest and the other, the servants of God, kidnapped, there were other persons, notably divisional delegates were kidnapped in the Indian division. One of them killed, and more than 2 years have elapsed. Nothing has been said about them. The president of the House of Chiefs of the Northwest region also taken away, and today nothing is said about them. What do you think about this?
The government needs to step in and solve this issue. We should stop doing pranking, blaming games, going around doing things. At the other time, I don't find on the news that the President have said that they have abandoned the late switch talks and the military will solve the problem. I don't think the military can solve the problem. This is just to keep open another door for many innocent civilians to die. Because I believe that when you are a government, or you are working under the government, or you are as a citizen of the country, it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that those citizens are in good health, their properties are in good, they are protected, and they live in a very scenario environment. And when we see a situation like that one in India, where government officials, they were kidnapped. The other one in Batigo were kidnapped. Up to today, they don't know where he is. And the government have done no investigation to give the population even what they have done so far and what their findings. You know, it's come a disheartening situation because they will keep on kidnapping people, keep on dying, and their life will continue losing. People will remain Yaoundé, and they will just be giving instruction and be telling you in Yaoundé that things are fine, things are okay. And I don't think. I just want to pray that governments will sit down and make sure. To me, I believe that we should revive the Anglophone, General Anglophone Conference, so the Anglophones should sit down and talk to one another. Let them bring out the problems and the table it to the government, and let the government see into it. Because only using those who are in government to bring statements, to go to the people and tell them that they will do this, and then give them promises that they will never fulfill. And then finally they find themselves that the anchor that some of us thought that it maybe have gone to a totally slow down to at least to 10%, almost getting finished, is coming back at fresh. Shows that they are not solving the problem. Because if we continue to use our own elites to make mass pass and say that it's peace mass pass, we play football, we say it's peace football. All those stuff, marathon, we say it's peace marathon. It will not help the situation where I find myself. We need to put the Anglophone down to sit down and talk. Let those in the government and those that are not in the government sit down on the table. That is a neutral ground for them to talk. Let them talk out their problems and let the table to the government, so that people's lives will be safe, people's property will be safe, people will not go through this trauma and this depression that they are going through. So the thing I'm just saying is that this for government to stop. If the government really love the Anglophones.
Do you think that the deployment of special forces can help the situation, can help the security and defense forces in targeting the military component of the crisis?
They are unfortunate that the government have chosen that they have abandoned the peace talk and they want to seek special forces. Those special forces, they are coming but to kill. Let me be categorically clear. They are just coming, maybe they are coming with the agenda to destroy and to kill Southern Cameroonians. Because I don't see how the forces that have been fighting this war from more than 4 years today. And today we say that we want to be special. How special is that those forces? Are they forces that are coming, to seek? Because we see a lot of scenario where, like for example, what happened in Boya, where car was born, there was a gunshot, and the military just wrecked the area, and they kill people. Somebody they shot somebody in Maningo. In a checkpoint in Boya. A policeman shot somebody down, and today nobody's investigating to ask the question, what happened? So it's less special for, I don't know why they are giving command to kill without no remorse. Or they are coming to kill so that the government will back them, and let they say that, and let them find a propaganda way or machine way to say that this is the ambassador boys that are killing Southern Cameroon, or they are dying because of hunger. I don't know, because there's nothing that, as we have said, even the former American Chubinagi have said that this war cannot solve this crisis that we have. War cannot solve it. Gun cannot solve it. Military cannot solve it. So if the government is thinking of special forces, I don't think that those special forces that are coming to bring peace. Maybe they are coming to further put the people into misery, into pain, into a kind of devastating situation that, I don't know how it looks like that.
Thank you so much for your time. I should emphasize that the authorities, including the Minister of Territorial Administration, the Defense Minister, and of course the Minister of Communication and others, have repeatedly said the military is deployed to the northwest and southwest regions. The armed forces are there not to kill, not to destroy, but to protect the territorial integrity of Cameroon, the people and their properties. Despite the accusations, the allegations raining down, some recognized, some accepted by the Ministry of Defense, this emphasis is made time and again that the soldiers are there to protect the territorial integrity of Cameroon, the people and their properties, and also to fight in the perspective of restoring peace and normalcy in those two regions. And this is where we end this edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Coming up next, live from Cameroon's political capital, Yaoundé, Equinoxe Soir. Stay with us.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte. De lundi à vendredi sur Equinoxe Télévision.
Comment vous expliquez ce qui arrive au Cameroun au regard de son potentiel?
Un pays qui a des problèmes énergétiques compromet ses chances vers l'émergence.
Vous avez suivi les panélistes, on se plaint, rien n'a véritablement changé. C'est comme si on n'avait même jamais mis sur pied tous ces projets.
De quoi que ce que nous disons ou nous voulons faire comprendre n'est pas totalement vrai. La preuve est que nous avons l'énergie ici.
Quand c'est pas bon, vous changez les gens, vous changez la façon de faire. Si on est SND chante aujourd'hui, ça veut dire que DSN n'a pas marché.
Je vous dis, le réchauffement climatique ne peut pas être à l'origine des problèmes que nous avons aujourd'hui.
Le préfet a décidé d'aller en mission, on va dire comme ça, pédagogique. Comment vous interprétez cette descente de l'autorité préfectorale?
Selon certaines informations, il y a des endroits où tel collecte pour l'autre, les autres payent chez tel et ça ne se retrouve pas chez le receveur.
Il faut que ceux qui dirigent, ceux qui font dans cette affaire-là comprennent qu'on ne peut plus avoir des marchés fourre-tout.
On se retrouve demain lorsqu'il sera 19h. Bonsoir, Lord Paume.
Ce mardi sur Equinoxe Télévision.
L'homme déjà est un être insatisfait. Même si tu donnes tout à un homme, tu lui fais tout, il sera toujours dehors.
C'est l'homme qui peut être infidèle. On pardonne l'infidélité de l'homme, pas de la femme. La femme doit être soumise à l'homme, respectueuse, honnête.
Mais moi, mon cas par exemple, quand une femme déconne, je la mets dehors.
L'homme est fait pour plusieurs femmes, mais la femme est faite pour un seul homme. En aucun jour, nous n'écouterons jamais qu'une femme a épousé 2 hommes.
Pas accepter par exemple de mourir des maladies, des infections et tout ce qui va avec parce que je dois avoir un statut de femme mariée.
Il n'y a qu'un homme fidèle. Tous les hommes sont égaux et c'est la nature de l'homme. Et la femme ne peut jamais se mesurer à un homme.
Je préfère encore qu'il prenne une deuxième femme. Ça peut un peu le calmer.
Ce mercredi sur Equinoxe Télévision.
Alors, l'ostéopathie, qu'est-ce que c'est exactement? L'ostéopathie est une médecine non conventionnelle qui est basée sur les manipulations du système musculo-squelettique. Et le but recherché est de